The Rimworld community received quite a welcome surprise today with the announcement of an upcoming DLC called Anomaly. In addition to that, they've also announced that we're getting a 1.5 patch, which is just insane, the amount of things that the studio is addressing in the patch. And so in this video, I'm going to go over real quick a couple of key highlights that I took away from the patch notes, and then I'm going to talk about Anomaly and highlight just some of the things that were announced today that, as far as features coming in Anomaly, is not to spoil the whole thing. There'll be links in the description if you would like to learn more and read the entire list of patch notes and the full details of Anomaly. So kicking off the first part, one of the things that they're emphasizing is the addition of some new items and a new mechanic called books in 1.5. So we have books, bookcases, couches, and ornate doors. And so basically what the books are going to be is that your pawns can read certain books and gain boosts to recreation XP. They can earn research, so you can read a book and gain progress on specific research. And then there are books that are specifically tied into the Anomaly expansion where you can get, special research projects for anomalies. So that's really cool. And they have couches that are like armchairs but have room for two. And ornate doors. They're going to be a 2x1 door. Thank God. This is for those of us who make plenty of mistakes when designing our buildings and get it just one square off. And so the next thing that I wanted to highlight is wall lamps, flood lamps, and hidden conduits. Wall lamps look amazing. So we're going to be able to put lamps inside the walls finally on a vanilla expansion. And then we're going to have hidden conduits. And so the benefit of hidden conduits is we won't have our metallic conduits exposed outside when we're running power from one building to another, which puts us at risk of having our power system damaged by raiders or other events. And so that's a cool feature. And they also specifically mention performance improvements. As you get later on into the game, like a lot of these strategy games, you have significant performance degradation over time. And so it looks like they're going to address some of that stuff. So that's really cool to see. They've changed a little bit about how the pawns are rendered and how some of the calculations are done with the game. So looking forward to the performance improvements, definitely. And so vanilla players are also going to see an upgrade to the clean room function. Now previously, in order to clean up a room, you had to right-click on the actual dirt itself and wait on a pawn to go over and clean it. We're getting an option now where you'll be able to right-click on a room itself and have your pawns clean that entire room with a single click. That's an awesome feature, especially when your colony gets much larger and you're trying to micromanage so many different things and you need to clean up, because cleanliness has a huge impact on your pawn's overall happiness. And then the last thing on the patch I want to highlight is new wanderers after a game over. So basically this is the afterlife for your colony. So if your colony gets raided and all of your pawns die, or if something tragic happens and your colony is just dead, you're given the option to create new wanderers. It's like a second chance. So you'll have approximately 1 to 6 colonists that can inhabit the remains of your colony instead of ending your game. So I think this is a cool feature. It's kind of a second chance, really. But for a lot of folks that are just looking to kind of play a standard single storyline with their colonies, I'm not sure a lot of people will take this on. It might be fun if you're really in love with, say, a colony location and the structures that you've built. It'll be interesting to see what comes of that. Now let's get into the expansion, into Anomaly. Anomaly is a horror-focused DLC for Rimworld. It's focused around stories of, say, the Elder Gods and the Cthulhu mythos and movies like The Cabin in the Woods, and just that kind of dread and darkness is what they're trying to bring to the game. So this is the moment in your Rimworld playthrough when your friend gets their arm chopped off and the arm reanimates and tries to attack everyone. This is the world of zombies and ghouls and strange, weird creatures that only Rimworld could come up with in its grand schematics and calculations. So there'll be a lot of interesting fiends that we'll be fighting. So we'll be fighting flesh beasts and zombies and spherical death machines, which straight out of Phantasm. So a lot of really cool horror features in this DLC. As a horror fanatic, I'm stoked about this one. The idea of playing an In the Mouth of Madness style playthrough for Rimworld is just excellent. So a lot of the there'll be new tools for us to construct. We've got Hellcat rifles, IEDs that resurrected the dead, flesh mutilating pulsers, and flamethrowers, as you can see displayed on the screen there. Some exceptional shots of our upcoming opportunities to just incinerate everything around us. So the horror combat looks exceptionally well done. So the developers were kind enough to give us a couple of scenarios that are really twisted and examples of what we can expect when we are loading and running a colony inside Anomaly. At night, you'll hear the screeching of physically invisible hunter that feeds on human souls. They've got a massive flesh creature growing across the landscape. Now that is really, really cool. It's almost like the Zerg and how they would grow their bases and kind of infect and devour the landscape around them. That's a very creepy, cool scenario. I can't wait to face that one. Parasite, mind control some of our colonists. Brain slugs, that's really cool. We'll be facing pulsating obelisk crash landings. We already have some stuff like that with the ancient mechs and some of the ancient materials that are spread out across the map, but I wonder if this is really an expansion and more of a fleshing out of those items that are already there. Still, it's pretty cool. Ancient technology and the idea of some ancient races, materials, and technology creating zombies accidentally is always a great storyline. Colonists can be obsessed with a beautiful golden cube, so it's not cheese. They build statues of the cube, they worship the cube, they love the cube. This is the cube that seems to be featured on the Rimworld Anomaly key art that's been published. So a lot of us thought it was cheese. Apparently it is not. A corpse arrived that looks exactly like one of your colonists. Seems to follow them. No matter what you do, the corpse returns. Oh God, that's terrifying. I love it. I love it. That's there's a very good vampire space story about something similar like that. And there's many other things. Obviously, this is just some of the things that they've thrown out as potential for us to experience in this in the DLC. And so they did mention that we would capture and study entities in our facilities, which really makes sense. It looks like we're going to be getting some new research capabilities, so we'll be able to capture these zombies and these flesh monsters and the other creepy things that are haunting our locations, bring them into our evil laboratory and do experiments and gain insight knowledge into how these creatures are functioning so that we can be better prepared to defend ourselves against them. And it's almost like they took a list of everything that I've ever wanted in a real-time strategy or a colony building simulator and threw it into this DLC, because on top of all the weird creatures of the night, the creepy interdimensional horrors that we have to face to survive, and all the other things that Rimworld already throws at us, cultists are out there. So it's not enough to have a creepy giant slug that rolls through the desert at night eating everything in its wake. You always have to have a group of people who worship the thing as a god. There always has to be the secret order of the tentacle. And here we have the Order of the Tentacle. That's right, we have macabre cultists that will be worshiping these creatures, and apparently they have the ability to summon these creatures. So now you won't just have Ted with his flamethrower coming to raid your settlement. You're going to have Ted with his flamethrower and his girlfriend Dawn, who has the ability to summon a giant beast that's going to ravage your colony. This is really cool. I wonder what kind of mechanics we're going to have as far as interactions with them. It'd be interesting to see how, if we can communicate with them, if we can negotiate with them, if there's diplomacy. Do they attack us just because of their religion, or do they attack us because of our social activity? Do they not like us? Is it a diplomacy thing? So it'll be really interesting to see how the cultist mechanic is really fleshed out in this. So, and then there's a strange thing at the end of the press release. It says, choose your fate in a new endgame. In the end, the abyssal void will swallow the world, and you must choose your fate. It's a really ominous thing. I'm not really sure what that means, but it seems to indicate something beyond the endgame if your colony is destroyed. Now, we already know from the patch notes that they're going to give us an opportunity to create new settlers and create new pawns once a colony has been destroyed. But does this mean that there's something for us even if our pawns haven't died? Say an end game that destroys the world but allows us to live on. Maybe some interdimensional play. That would be kind of cool. So, the crew that make Rimworld are one of the rare gems in the gaming world because you don't hear a lot from them. But when you do, it's very meaningful. They have been working on this DLC and on the update, the 1.5 update, for about 18 months. And so instead of just throwing out a lot of little things and promises and random stuff on social media, they're very quiet until they have something of substance to really show us. And they really have come through, at least in the announcement and the promises for Anomaly. So it's obvious that they've put in a lot of work, a lot of thought to this. I'm very excited about the horror-themed expansion for this game. I think it'll add some very unique dynamics, and it might be worth starting a brand new replay, a brand new Let's Play on this one, focusing on some of these themes, so that's something I'll have to consider. Then, the patch notes. It's nearly impossible to go through the patch notes on a video like this because I don't even think that the patch notes really convey themselves what they're doing to fix some of the issues that the game has as far as performance, and then just general improvements, things that people haven't asked for, but they've gone out and they've looked and saw what people have been doing on their own to make changes and improvements or make just little modifications, and they're incorporating a lot of that into the game. The lights and books and a lot of the stuff that may seem very small, but in this type of game, those are huge improvements. And so very impressed with how the studio is handling this update. The announcement was teased about 2 days ago, and then, or I think it was 2 days ago or a couple of days ago, and then we got the full release announcement today. I will have a link in the description to the Steam announcement and then a separate link to the Google Doc that was released that has all of the patch notes if you would like to go and look through those, because there are a lot of patch notes. Skip Anomaly, just look at what they've done to make improvements to the base game. That is exceptional, and it's phenomenal, the love and continued support that this game and the community continues to receive. So it's been a great day for the Rimworld community, and I'm looking forward to the DLC and to the patch. Now, there's no official published release date on Steam, but the word is from the studio that it will be available next month, both the patch and the DLC, and I can't wait. Hey everybody, thanks for hanging out with me today. I'm Commander Exorcist. Take care, fly safe, and I will see you out there. Good night.